Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. Thank you for joining me wherever you are joining me. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. If you're joining me on the YouTube channel, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, all that jazz. You know, there's an old adage that says that if you're not a part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. I think about that, right? Because there are so many things that go on in life that we complain about, or that we complain about, or that we make fun of, whatever it is. But what are we actively doing to try to rectify the situation? We can be complicit. We can be complicit in how we handle these things that make it possible for the thing that we are complaining about to continue without any any revocation. I'll give you an example. So a long time ago now, well, maybe not even a long time ago in the world, but a long time ago it feels in my life, I used to DJ karaoke pretty regularly. At one point in time, I was, DJing a show 4 times a night. I mean, 4 times a week. And one of the things that I ran into was I never really particularly liked people using the N-word. Not even really black people, to be honest with you, but never said anything to black people because exactly. So really had an issue. Obviously, I really had an issue with other people who were not black using the word. And so, like, what would happen is people would request songs that I knew had the N-word in it. And, if they were not black, I would mute when the N-word came on if I didn't know or if I had a good feeling that they were going to use the N-word. If sometimes they would use it the first time, and then from there I would know, and then I would mute them whenever the word came on in the song. And so one day, this gentleman that got up, he was rather saucy, and he wanted to sing Juicy. And if you know Juicy, there's a part in there with, and if you don't know, now you know. Exactly. And I could tell he was like itching to say that part. So when it got to that part, I hit the mute button on the microphone so that he didn't ring that out, but he noticed it. And after the song was over with, he came to me, he was like, "Yo, man, why you muting my mic for?" And I tell him, I'm like, "Listen, you out here saying the N-word, you know better than that. So I muted you." He goes, "Well, you use it." And I go, "I don't use it." He goes, "Well, I know lots of black people who use it and they don't mind me using it." And I'm like, "Okay, so say it around them." But my issue was I was complicit in it because I allowed music to be played that had that word in it. And by allowing the music to be played that had the word in it, I was essentially giving license to anybody who was listening to it to just sing along with the song. After all, it's art, right? After all, it's just art. So if it's just art, why should I be upset if somebody is mimicking the art? That's the argument, right? So you know what I did? I made sure I only played songs that had edited versions. No more N-word. And if somebody asked to sing a song that had the N-word in it, I would tell them ahead of time, "Listen, I'm going to mute your mic when it comes to the N-words." Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, didn't matter. See, if you're not a part of the solution, then you're part of the problem, because that's the way they're going to make it seem. That's the way they're going to portray it to you. If you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. So by me just allowing the word to be used in songs around me, I was complicit. And I wanted to take every excuse away. I wanted to make sure there was no way that anybody could use an excuse why they thought it was okay to use that word, especially people who didn't look like me. So I must admit my the level of hypocrite that I am, because in sports we ridicule people all the time. And I have constantly come on here and talked about, man, you know, it doesn't always pay to ridicule people in the moment, like to take a broad look at it, but I've been complicit. Because when I see college basketball teams, and they don't score over, 30 points and a half, I am critical. I don't understand it. But I don't just keep it to myself. I talk about it. Because I'm like, how are you recruiting college level basketball players, putting in a system that doesn't get you 30 points in a half with a 30-second shot clock? I get upset when I see high school teams not scoring 30. So I'm darn sure going to be upset but again, I don't consider all the factors. I don't let everything play out the way I should and judge it on a whole. Maybe it's a bad shooting day. Maybe the defense that they're playing is just that good. But I don't take any of that into consideration. I just start attacking. People on social media last night and into this morning attacking Tony Snell. And maybe some of you guys don't think it's an attack, but they talk about Tony Snell and the fact that he played 31 minutes and only had 1 rebound and 2 steals. They bring up the 0 points. They bring up the 0 assists. They're like 0.0 assists, 1 rebound, 2 steals, 31 minutes. And people are making fun of him. Oh, he's getting paid just to do suicides. Oh, yeah, it's funny. But, people do have feelings. And while I think, Tony Snell has a tough enough skin to take this, like, why? Why was there a need to jump on Tony Snell? When have we ever been out here going, yo, Tony Snell is the piece. Tony Snell is the missing piece that's going to get it done. Yo, that team got Tony Snell. They about the ball. We never said that. We're not doing that. So if that's not what we said, if that's not what we're doing, then why are we acting as if what Tony Snell does in a game really matters? Tony Snell is a role player. He's a role player. He plays a role. And guess what? Many nights, his role is not to score. Many nights, his role is to do other things besides score. So why did we all of a sudden decide that last night was the night to dump on Tony Snell? What did Tony Snell do? Did Tony Snell come out and say, yo, man, I'm the 6th man of the year? What did Tony Snell do to bring attention to himself before last night when the entire basketball Twitter world decided that they were going to make him a story. So that's my problem, right? If you have players that are out there, screaming, yo, this is who I am, and you should be respecting me, and I'm this and I'm that, then okay, it's fair to criticize. They're asking for attention. I've never heard about Tony Snell asking for attention. I think Tony Snell's just going out to do his job. Right? But then at the same time, I look at somebody like Russell Westbrook, and Russell Westbrook doesn't go out looking for attention. Russell Westbrook doesn't, well, let me take that back. He doesn't go out beating his chest about how good he is. He just goes out and plays as hard as he can. Right? Like, he just goes out and plays as hard as he can. But that doesn't stop people from ridiculing him when something doesn't go right. I'm trying to figure out how it is we're able to forget all of the good things that Russell Westbrook does, only to focus on the one negative. See, that's our problem when it comes to sports, and I'm complicit in it because I've done it. We forget about all the other good stuff that these players are doing to only focus on the one negative. I do it with James Harden all the time. Yeah, he can score. Yeah, he's a great, but he don't play no defense. Look at his plus minus. Like, I'll say stuff like that. Yo, if he gets 40, if he has to guard somebody, he giving up 40. I say that. I used to say that about Steve Nash all the time. It's backhanded. It doesn't make any sense. Let's acknowledge more of the positives. I'm not saying don't harp on the negatives I'm not saying don't acknowledge the negatives, but we don't have to land on a negative and stay there. And that's what we do a lot of times. And most of the times it's to push our own agenda. And I'm no different. When I'm trying to push my agenda, what I believe, what I want to be said, many times I will forego talking about the positives and only harp on the negative if it helps to make my point. So I'm just saying, listen, we're going to criticize, we're going to ridicule. That's just a part of the culture when it comes to sports. But let's acknowledge the positives. Let's acknowledge, like legitimately acknowledge the positives as it comes to what we're doing within this space. Because it's the positives that make everything go. At some point, shouldn't LeBron James just be beyond like criticism? Aren't you guys getting tired of after a game criticizing LeBron James for something innocuous? Like, well, he didn't take that shot. And then you blame it on him being afraid to shoot free throws. LeBron James has fear in basketball. Come on, people. We got to be better. We got to do better. Right? It doesn't make any sense. Is it just fun to doubt? Maybe that's what it is. It's just fun, right? We just have fun doubting people. We have fun putting down people. We have fun looking at the negative. It must just be fun to doubt, because that's the only thing I can think of. That must be more fun to do. It must be more fun to do. It must be more fun to look at a situation and say, hey, what's the negatives in it? As opposed to looking at a situation and talking about the positives. Because we are really awesome at doing the negative thing. Like, we're super good If you ever notice, right, when Stephen A. Smith talks, and quite honestly, a lot of times when I'm watching a Stephen A. Smith rant, it's something replayed. I don't get a chance to watch First Take in the morning because I work for a living. But I'll see the replay. You ever notice that when Stephen A. Smith says all the positive stuff, he talks really fast? Hey, you know how I go, 24 rebounds, 13 assists. We know he's a stud, but he is horrible on the defensive end. Notice, like, he gives you all the positive stuff. Like, real quick, here, positive, negative. How often do we do that? This isn't something that's just like, akin to Stephen A. Smith or just attributed to Stephen A. Smith. I think we do it all the time. And I think we do it purposefully, right? Because we want people to know that we actually mentioned something positive. Hey, I said some positive things. That's what happens. That's how you try to be proactive against the go back. You know what I'm saying? The blowback. You say the positive really quick. You get in and out with the positive, and then you hammer home the negative. Everybody know he's box office. He's a bad man, but it's always that heavy but. There's always that extra on the butt. And then there's the drawn out, we're going to bash somebody type of thing. We always see it. Listen, I'm not here to cast aspersions on anybody. I know that, LeBron James is 5-time MVP. I know he's done all the, I know he's got three championships in 3 different places, and he's been in the playoffs. He's been to the finals 11 times. I get that. But you have got, it's about to be some ridiculousness. We all do it. Maybe it's time for us to tone it down a little bit. Man, life can be so much easier. Life could be so much better if we don't always look to the negative. I am a big man. Listen, when I'm talking about Daniel Jones, I know I'll mention, Daniel Jones has an ability to be a really good quarterback, but right? I know that's about, because I don't believe in him as a quarterback. I've seen too much negative. But it doesn't cost me anything to talk more about the positive, because if it's negative, it's going to be negative. Eventually, everybody will see it. Eventually, everybody will see it. So let's try to find these things, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a little bit more time. Basketball is heating up. We've got college that are in their conference tournaments. The NCAA tournament is going to be here before we know it. The NBA coming down the backstretch. They'll be in the playoffs before we know it. Who cares about baseball? Clearly they don't. The draft is almost here. It is mock draft season. So let's make sure that we take a little bit more time to talk more about those positives. Because we can. Because it's easy. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Talk Spicy. I'm Coach Gene Clemens. We do this thing a few times a week. Rate the show, comment, agree, disagree, but whatever you do, keep it spicy. 5-star ratings are appreciated. If you're joining me on the YouTube channel, you know what to do. Like and subscribe. If you're joining me on Facebook, keep on hitting that like button on the page. We really do appreciate it. Until next time, peace.